Alpine's livery has been teased and it looks splendid. More on that in today's Burnt Rubber Show. Alpine, a car manufacturer from France who have ties to Renault, are now, Renault, and they have teased their livery as I mentioned earlier, and it looks splendid. If you haven't seen it, here it is right here.
Donc l'image que vous voyez un peu
Splendid livery. If this is the livery they use, no confirmation of course, and it's still early on, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the livery that Alpine use, or Alpine, I think it's Alpine anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the livery that they use for the upcoming 2021 F1 season, simply because we know they're going to change the colours to the French flag colours. This livery just makes sense. Why wouldn't it? It does look very nice, and can't wait to see more liveries coming through soon, especially Aston Martins. But we'll have to see what Alpine do with their livery, what sponsors they add. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a few of Fernando Alonso's sponsors on the car, or at least on his car, and probably continue their partnership with DP World. But things are looking pretty bright, no pun intended, for Alpine. And speaking of Alpine, well, if you go over to MotoGP, there's a little bit of bizarre move going on there. No, it's not a rider moving into F1, but it is a man from Suzuki. Suzuki MotoGP team have confirmed that Davide Brivio will depart the team in an imminent move to F1, and as I said, Alpine. Now this is a move that you wouldn't expect, but at the same time it makes sense. This doesn't really surprise me, because if you think about it, he's a team boss. A team boss can go from MotoGP to F1 easily. He can go from MotoGP to Rally. He's a team boss. He makes the big decisions. It's pretty simple, really, at the end of the day. But that doesn't mean I wasn't surprised when I saw the news that Davide will move to F1. So this move would mean that he would become the CEO of Alpine F1 team, or Renault. I have a feeling people are still going to call it Renault. Of course, if you don't know Davide Brivio, or you don't really pay attention to MotoGP, they didn't only win the driver's title with Joan Mir, but they also won the constructor's title, or whatever it's called in MotoGP. Of course, with Marc Marquez out, that just meant the whole season was completely wide open. And, of course, being the boss, he deserves a lot of credit, and I think he can do really well under the Alpine banner. Moving on to World Endurance Championship now, and Jota Sport, a LMP2 team, have confirmed an all-star lineup for its upcoming season. Now, Sean Glale is the first of the drivers to join this team, and he is an interesting character. He obviously missed a few races in the 2020 F2 season due to a pretty nasty accident. The other two drivers, though, are very much talented drivers, and that's not to say that Sean Glale isn't a talented driver. These two are just very much upper level. The second driver is, of course, a man that's raced in F1. He's raced at McLaren. He's raced alongside Fernando Alonso and showed a lot of promise in his career early on. It's, of course, Stoffel Vandoorne, now in Formula E, and is doing pretty well for Mercedes. It looks like he won't be returning to F1 anytime soon, but he will be racing in the World Endurance Championship alongside Sean Glale and the next driver Tom Blomqvist. Well, what has he done in his career? Well, he's only 28, and this year finished runner-up in the 2020 Little Molly Bathurst 12 Hour. And in 2018, he won overall in the Spa 24 Hours. Definitely a driver to get excited about in that lineup. Robert Kubica will join Ferdinand Habsburg in leaving DTM and moving over to the Rolex 24. Robert will join Ferdinand in driving for high class racing. It's a 24-hour race, so he's got other company in Anders Forbach and Dennis Anderson. All four drivers will wheel an Orica 07 LMP2 car around the famous Florida circuit. And as it was previously announced, you may have missed it, the two Danish drivers, Anderson and Forbach, will be joined by Jan Magnussen, who is a very talented driver and, of course, father of Kevin Magnussen. Now, yesterday I put out a video talking about all sorts of stuff that happened yesterday, and one of those stories was Lee Holdsworth. Of course, now Lee has left the sport, possibly for good, and has joined TCR. I mean, there was no other option really. He either sits in retirement or drives in one of the upcoming and best series in Australia. Holdsworth and Jay Hansen will drive out of the Ashley Seawood Motorsport camp in Alfa Romeo Giulietta's. TCR Australia did not run a season in 2020, but 2021 has big plans as we kind of just slightly shift away from this COVID disaster. The first of the rounds will take place at Symonds Plains in Tasmania. Fantastic little circuit, very high speed, should be an incredible watch. So make sure you keep up to date with TCR Australia, cause that is a very, very exciting series to watch, especially with the addition of Lee Holdsworth, a very talented driver who should not be out of supercars. Well, that's all the time we've got here for today. Thank you so much for watching if you're even at this point. It's been a crazy few weeks, but cannot wait to bring you more videos, and I'll see you very soon.